Right, we are here at Kentuckiana Lodge and catching up with Cran Dalgety. Firstly, Cran, welcome.
Great to have you here, and sun's out, and so we're enjoying life.
We generally have a little bit of fun. I am over here for Grand Prix week, but I want to try and get people thinking a little bit, and I caught up with Mark Purden earlier on this morning as well, but just after the recent running of the Breeders' Crown and trying, I suppose, get a bit of understanding and potentially where it is and where it's going to be, if you like, on the harness racing platform. Firstly, you were over there the other day. You had a runner. It's still a bit of a buzz. I saw one of the photos you're in. It's a buzz to have a horse in a Breeders' Crown.
No doubt, because you breed one right from a baby and you look for the sort of pinnacle of big races, and to get there, it's just a big buzz, let alone win it.
Yeah, and group of owners, I don't know if Cam come over or all the rest, but there's that little bit of fun, a little bit of banter. We've spoken off air about it, and we say about bragging rights, if you like, of winning one, but the build-up in that is the fun with your mates as well, isn't it? And also, some of your opposition.
No doubt. We'll see here, we've come from NZ, and here's Cam and his dad. They've come all the way from WA, Perth. So, horses are an amazing thing. They're a professional excuse to get together on a chosen social occasion. And if you win a race and $1, it's a bonus.
It is indeed. Right, the Breeders' Crown, you've won 5 of them. You've won a lot of races, so they're still pretty special to you.
Oh, well, I get special winning a maiden race, but to win those races, they are pinnacles. And, the ones we've taken over, to leave NZ and the expense warrant around it. So you have to try and take one that you think's in a pretty high pecking order of its own age group. And, like you say, we've been fortunate to win a few in a few places and looking for our next.
Is it a race that's still on you guys' radar?
Oh, no doubt. At the time of each season, you're as powerful of what quality animal you have in a chosen age group that year. Because, if I had 10 rocket machines, would I be over there tomorrow, or the one just gone? So we're always looking for one to compete, no doubt.
Do you still sustain, like you guys pay up for the series? Like if you have a foal, you'll pay up for the Breeders' Crown?
The catch-22 now is, what's happened in a bit of a whirlwind for the wrong way, is because of the change of the timings, where they used to be away from our size stakes here, which is known as 2-year-old, and we used to be 3-year-olds, now New Zealand Cup Carnival. It's basically a clash. Yeah. So here we are on our home ground. It's easier for us to prep one here in NZ than warrant the expense and all the infrastructure to go to over there. So I'd love to see it come apart so we can do both. I really would, and it's become a little bit of a downhill spiral too on the finances of the stake values, because the average Kiwi doesn't pay up for them now, because knowing the percentage of us being there is very slim. So I know when I was lucky enough that we were lucky, those finals are 320,000, and sure they're quite a bit less now, but this is what's sort of happening really, because we shouldn't be clashing, we should be as friends. It's great for the nations of Australia to have to see the best as many times as we can, but we've had a little bit of a strangulation of not being able to be there, so so a frustration.
I've got a curly one for you at the end of this, actually, in regard to yearling sales. So one of the things that always raises its head, especially in the Kiwis, were these almost walkover races where you would have 2 or 3 horses. They'd be lining up at Auckland or at Addington, and effectively the Australians were saying that it's unfair because these horses get straight into the semi-finals and they effectively beat no one. The demise of that is almost spelled about the demise, if you like, of you guys getting across there.
That's a very good question. Now, in life, you have to spend a little to make a big bit. Yep. So, in saying that, for us not to have those heats, it was costing us an extra 2.5 weeks of travel. So, we were lucky enough to go on these heats. Are we sure it was a walkover? Well, firstly, I was speaking in defence of Victoria. It looked like money poorly spent. Sure, it did, but it made us get there and to warrant the trip. So, hence what I'm saying, if we get on the road with one, we could be away with going over to heats 7 to 8 weeks, 9 weeks on the road with 1 to 2 horses, and then we've got big numbers back at base here. So I think they had to take going forward, they have to take a sacrifice for us to be able to compete in them. And then if we do win a walkover heat or a 2-horse race, well, we say, right, let's get on the plane, we're over there.
Yeah, and it cuts down that time, because then you're only there for the semis. Like, I think it was 3.5 weeks this year in Victoria from the time of the heats to the finals. You've got to be there a week before. Mark Burden, I presume you'd be something similar. You like to be there a week before?
Oh, no doubt, yes. When I travel from, all the travelling I've done over there, I always work on minimum 8 days. So, the money's big, so you've got to be at your best.
So you got 3.5 weeks, so you've got 4.5 weeks. You don't get on the plane straight after it. So quite comfortably there's 5 weeks, and as you said, could be anything up to 8 weeks, depending on the horses and the availability. So the time, and I would imagine the money, and one of the other contributing factors is almost the staff. You're going to have, even if you go, you're still going to have staff over there, because like you were talking off there, you want to be there for that last week, 2 weeks, but for you to be over there for that 6 to 8 weeks is a big ask on yourself.
Yeah, it's a demand in many ways. Like Brian Hancock, Brian Hancock said to me years ago, if you had a good horse and go on tour, and you're frustrating the owners of the ones that own the horses when you're away, all you've got to say to them is, if that was your fast horse, would you want me with it?
Yep.
And that answers my question. I've always worked on that philosophy, because we're always striving to get the biggest and the best horse, for whatever owner it's for. So, like you say, to sum that up, you want to be with the horse the last 18 days.
Timing is a big thing, and this year it clearly didn't work. There was no Kiwis. I might be wrong, but I don't even think, and you'd be good to answer this, I don't think a lot of Kiwis were even thinking about the Breeders' Crown leading up to when it was, because your New Zealand Carnival now is so big. You had a runner. Were you actually thinking about the Breeders' Crown, or was it really just an afterthought once the New Zealand Cup Carnival week sort of finished? You said, all right, the Breeders' Crown's coming up.
Well, that's it. We used to strive. It used to be so exciting. Breeders' Crown, it was talked like Linderdoms, That's the kind I want to be in. But, I was, well, not negative's the wrong word, but it just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what you want. You want people talking about it before it happens, because that's what creates build-up. Talking about things on the day or the day before, there's no build-up, and no one's going to bet on the industry or invest in the industry if there's not that build-up, and the timing was just a little bit off this year. Is there a time that you can see where a Breeders' Crown could fit in?
Oh, well, I think the time was before. I think it was about 3 weeks earlier. Can be done, just to revert back to what was happening, because we arrived and it happened and it worked.
So have it 3 weeks before your New Zealand Cup, so just coming out of that springtime, try and find a time slot there that we could fit for everyone? Yeah,
well, it was something that wasn't broken, so it didn't need to be fixed, but as you saw, it has been rearranged the timings, but no, it's not. It need to be. What I'm saying is the Victoria Carnival to be earlier, before our one.
Yeah, and be able to go to it from there. The carnivals, it's a funny thing. I was here 12 months ago in New Zealand, and this time you guys were told about state reductions, and there was going to be state cuts, and there were state cuts put in. Go on 12 months, and with the Entane coming in, things can change. With a little bit of that change, it's almost your prize money now that you guys are offered here in New Zealand. There's not that lure necessarily of the travel either.
Yes and no. Still for the big stakes races, there's no doubt. The age group racing, whether it be Oakses or Derbies or Breeders' Crowns, you're still, when you have an article that's performing at that time, because I like always say to an owner, a horse is only one age, 365 days, and no more, no less. So you've got to make the most of that, because when we go along yearling sales, we're paying, well, probably silly amounts for these horses, to be realistic. So we have to strive to get to the big pinnacle day where we can get $1 million back.
Yeah, and a race like the Breeders' Crown, which can get the entire Australasian or Southern Hemisphere horses in it, it has that. It's the right platform as long as the prize money's right and the timing's right.
Yeah, because in the US, they run right for the years as many a big race, but their big wow factor at the end of this season, all they talk about is the Breeders' Crown. It's a big title and it's a big kudu if you involved in a Breeders' Crown or even get a hold of a Breeders' Crown. And when it developed here and down under here, as they call us in Australia, it was an amazing opportunity, and I just love it to regrow again.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I've got a couple of other questions, but one I want to ask you, and as a prolific buyer at yearling sales, if you see down the bottom Breeders' Crown eligible, does that sway you at all?
Well, I'll answer that backwards. If the horse hasn't got breeders' crown eligibility there, I go quite negative against the eligibility of that horse.
That's a great answer. So that in itself is awesome, and I'm sure there'd be a lot of people out there who'd be like, Ryo, we want to get him, want to get him ready. When there'd be probably some people say, I wonder why Cran's not looking at this horse, and it may not have that on the bottom of it. On that, do you like as many paid up for as many series as they can when you're looking at yearlings? Do you think that makes them a lot more appealing?
No doubt about it. For several $100s, or less than that, per stake payment, when we're bidding for nice colts at 60, 80, 100,000, 100 plus, and they're worried about their several $100s of paying up to have those things are eligible, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, which is cool. The Inter-Dominion, it's on as well, and again, timing is near on impossible for you guys over here. Where's the Inter-Dominion at for you guys?
Probably like I said about with the age group horses, if you've got a great free-for-aller, that's a series you still love to be in as well. It's been changed many a time, as you well know, but in my opinion, I still think that the 3 heats in the week and the week later with the final is great. It's had a lot of tampering. I think I'm sort of traditional one way, but then I like to be advanced in technology in another way too. But I think that's one that doesn't need to be busted apart. But all back to timing. We would love for the whole industry, for NZ and Australia, would we love to have all the best available at that chosen time. And not only for the horse, but the participants and the social people. A lot of the enthusiasts and the owners, they love going to the Dominion. They go and watch those 3 heats, and they might go and explore that town, that city within that last week, and they come back for the final. That's something that could be revamped. We undersell it. I'm probably a little bit negative on it because I think it's probably done its time. But I listened to you just and the passion you said about it, and probably the valid points and that carnival, because that's what I love so much about the New Zealand carnival. And anyone that hasn't experienced it, they need to come here and experience it. And I believe anyone that wants to try and grow harness racing needs to come here next year, be here for Kaikoura, stay right through and understand what grows it. And I don't think HRNZ sit on their laurels either. I don't think anyone says, well, this is what works. But you need to be able to, because I think it's a pinnacle of them. But you're right. When you have a travelling event and people can go there and horses, you make friendship, you see other people, you watch other trainers, you get to, there's so much more. Graham Dwyer said to me yesterday, being over here, he's dreaming. You get to dream that little bit, don't you? Well, you do. It's like turning your yesteryear back when you're in a sports team, you're at school and you travel and you room with someone or you socialise with someone for several days. They become lifelong buddies. Yeah. It's that simple. We take life too seriously sometimes. We're all trying to win 1 million races and win $1 million. Who's not? But it's all people and around and friendships and fun. You can't price that.
No. Should it have $1 million price tag, do you think, the Inter-Dominion?
Oh, like 100 million, of course, but got to be realistic about it. But a pinnacle race such as that, if it's not the top one, it's the top 2 talked about races in the nation, like $1 million is a magical figure. Yeah. Be a good start point.
Well, that's what Mark said. I mean, I think he referenced the Hunter Cup. Basically, it's the same prize money, so he can take a cooter across for the Hunter Cup with the same prize money. He doesn't have to be there for that extended period as well. So the prize money is definitely one of those. At the end of this part of the conversation, though, mate, you are going to continue to travel horses, I hope.
If I got fast enough, I'll leave tomorrow to go somewhere.
And with the boots as well.
yeah, that's it. It's all back to the power you got at the time. But travelling, I love travelling for 2 reasons. I love travelling because of the camaraderie, the friendships, the people you build up. Because, like I say to my staff all the time here, when you get to a stage when you're big and ugly like me and done a bit of travelling, so I could ring up anyone in Australasia or US or Canada or wherever, and I'm saying, I'm lucky enough I've got a fortune to have a good fast horse, can I come and stay with you? They wait at the gate with their arms open. That's how the nation works in this racing game. Yeah. There's a friendship anywhere in our business around the world that'll take you on board, because they know if you're lucky enough to get a good one, they know you haven't fluked it. You worked your ass off to get it. And
they'll do anything to help you, even if you're racing against them.
100%. We had, lucky enough to have the New Zealand Cup winner here with us this year, and we had 2 in the race. I was probably helping him more than helping myself, but that's just sort of, it comes from the heart. That's what you do. Yeah. I don't know why. It's probably silly, but that's what you do.
Oh, no, I think it's great. I think that's the thing. You want to see it. I mean, you want to win the race, but if you can't win it, you want your friends to win it, and everyone's happy for them. So I think it's great. Cran, thank you. It's opened my eyes a little bit too, because I think both yourself and Mark, the two people I've spoken to about it so far, it is still on the radar. I think in Australia, a lot of us think the Breeders' Crown is dead, and I'll put my hand up and say I'm one of those people. We definitely have to rejig it. I don't think we have to rejig it. We have to rejig the timing. Make sure we can get the timing where we can get the best of the best horses over there, and try and get more people travelling and make something of these carnivals. I think is the way to go.
Oh, 100%. As CEOs or associates or administrators, we're not enemies. We've got to make a friendship, and let's make these timings sweet so we can be at as many carnivals as possible. Because I know for the outcome for the public, geez, they love to see it. Yep. We love to be in it.
Yeah, and then when the cameras are turned off, we can have a bit of fun.
100%.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Wally.